What is identity? Is it about place, language, culture? Are we born into it, or do we choose it? What is it about places that we love that makes who we are? My earliest memories are about backyard parties in Baghdad. I was born to a large family in North Iraq. I came into a life that my parents had made. I remember going to the desert in spring to eat dolma, watch the quail run around, and the wildflowers. And in the summer, when it got so hot, we'd run to the mountains and sit in the cool air and the breezes. This is an image from the early 60s of my grandmother, my aunts, my uncles, my nephews. We would all kind of pack together in cars and go somewhere where we would sit out in nature. Or sometimes we would go to the Tigris and sit along the river under palm trees, where my mother would collect dry materials for her flower arrangements. She would bring with her her old Leica camera, and us kids would by turn take that camera and take pictures. My grandmother would smoke her daily cigarette, and sometimes she would let us have a drag. But by the mid-60s, political turmoil in Iraq made a lot of families leave the country. My family was one of them. We ran away to Beirut, which was a peaceful city at the time. The mid-60s, it was a place where we lived by the Mediterranean. So our life shifted to be along the sea. Orange stands, walks by the sea, sunsets, swims. We adjusted to life. We learned English and French in schools. We spoke Turkish at home. I come from Turkmen parents. And then we spoke Arabic on the streets. My sister and I wore miniskirts. Life was joyful. But by the mid-70s, the Civil War took off, and we had to leave. The place became impossible to live in. We were stuck in the dorms. Violence became a way of life, and food became scarce. So I left Lebanon to this place, the United States, looking for a better life. In this new place, I have many new identities. I'm an immigrant. I'm an architecture student. I'm a wife. I'm a young woman verging on womanhood. And within a couple of years, I become a mother of two. I studied, I worked, I took care of my family, I kept house, but life was cold. I mean, you can see this image, upstate New York in the snow. I'm doing laundry. Do I look happy? So we moved to the south, looking for warmth. I should be content, but I'm not. There is no language within me to express what I'm feeling. The feeling of isolation, of missing home so much, of missing the language, missing the food, missing my people, the big family. I didn't have language within me to express how I was feeling, but I knew how to use a camera. So I worked, I saved up my money, I bought a Pentax. A lot of you don't know what a Pentax is, but back then it was something else. This Pentax helped me document what was churning within me and the life around me. This kitchen, one friend, the children. And then when I learned how to draw, I made this image of, it's a mother holding her two children while there's a storm churning around her. Who am I? Where am I? Where is my life going? And what is the meaning of this life? When I learned how to paint, I learned to place the female figure in the middle of this place where half of it was erased. And sometimes she was floating in a space, lost. I was missing the smell of home. I craved for a spiritual food that connected me to that old world. My plate was empty. So I started collecting memories. I collected textiles, I collected landscapes, I collected amulets, costumes. I collected images of my childhood. I painted the streets where I played. I painted the songs and the lyrics of my Turkmen relatives. And I opened my heart to them and remembered them. In this painting, a woman's fate, or kismet, is being tattooed on her back. Kismet is what is written, your fate. Is it given to you, or did you make it? Those were the questions in my mind, in my world. But soon, I started recognizing the details of my life. The prairie grasses, the long horizons, the dryness of this place, and the contrast of the summer rains when the playas got full of water. The winter sunsets and the color. And the harshness of this environment. There was a contrast that was all around me. Little by little, this environment started creeping into my soul, and it became part of who I am. I started connecting to the fruits of my childhood. I planted figs in my yard, pistachios, almonds, peaches. Those are the peaches from last year. I connected to this place through the land. I started making community. I connected to the people around me. I started going with them to the landscape and participating in this community that loved the landscape, the prairie grasses, the playas around me. Will she stay laying on that altar, wrapped in her shroud, dreaming of the past, thinking of that olive grove from childhood? Is she gonna stay there, laying still, thinking of the past? I had to remake myself. So I wrapped my model in this white shroud. I floated her on a flying carpet into the landscape of Big Bend in spring. She was reborn. She's not gonna stay a ghost, covered up, holding on to that old culture through objects She's not going to sit thinking of the past, thinking of the rock that she walked by or swam under or around in Beirut. She's not going to stay in that world that was gone forever. These are videos. She's standing in the wind. Is she going to stay in there, dreaming of a world, talking to the birds in an environment made of gold and ether? The hills around me remind me of the hills back where I was growing up. So those hills became part of my work. I opened my heart to them, and they came within me, and I became part of them. I comforted that old self within me, and I sat her with me in that same eggshell, and we floated into this landscape of this place. This is Caprock Canyon. Then I took my grandmother's veil, and I unfurled it, and I connected it to the sky, gathering energy from the sky. And then I made her bigger. I burned her on wood. She started moving with me. As I moved into these different media, as I carved, she came with me. As I gathered textiles, beads, quilts, satin, velvets, and I started piling it on this shape that was my grandmother, I created this sculpture. The women in my family are at the heart and center of the work that I do. I learn from their movement, from their language, from their culture, and I build these sculptures, one after the other, until I created this family. I gather memories from the past with dreams of the future to create a sense of self that is anchored ultimately in this present moment, to create an identity that is forever changing. Thank you.